As Mark Pickering said, assisted dying campaigner Paul Lamb passed away at the age of 65 last week. He'd been paralysed from the neck down with limited movement in his right arm since 1990, when he was seriously injured in a car accident. He required round-the-clock care and suffered daily pain. Well, Trevor Moore is the chair of MyDeath-MyDecision and a personal friend of Paul Lamb, and was listening to every word intently to what Mark Pickering said. I'm going to come to that in a moment, as if it's just an old-school debating society. But I was deeply moved when I read what you'd gone through, and as it were, why you've ended up where you are because of Paul's death.
Yes, so I knew Paul well, and I would like to offer condolences to his family and friends, and particularly his carer, who most recently looked after him in a very loving way for the last 7 years. I think the point about Paul's condition is that he didn't actually want to die from an assisted death immediately. What he wanted was the knowledge that when it got too much, that was a choice available to him. And it's there in research around the world that once people know that the option is there, it actually makes it a lot easier for them with whatever quality of life they have.
I mean, one thing that's always struck me when I've thought about this discussion, and I'll give my own personal view in a wee while, is that the key to it is, I mean, I take Pickering's point about the period of time, and 6 months is hugely debated in the scientific community and the medical community. But the other vital thing is, do you really mean it? Do you really want it to happen? And therefore, a living will as a key to it would open the magic box, would it not?
Well, I think when you refer to a living will, you're probably talking about advanced decisions.
Yes.
At the moment, by law, all those can address is do not resuscitate options and things like that.
Sorry, yeah. But that's exactly my point. If you added a clause, and Andrew Mitchell saying he thinks that there is now a head of steam in Parliament, both houses of Parliament for it, the Lords are already there, Andrew said. If they added that clause, is the problem with it that not everybody would do it?
Well, first of all, I would like to say it's heartening to hear Andrew Mitchell supporting this bill. We agree on the fact that we need an assisted dying bill, albeit that my campaign organisation seeks the wider law that he referred to.
Yes.
The advanced decisions, I think the take-up in the UK currently is about 4% of people have made an advanced decision. And also, the very point of an advanced decision is that it comes into effect when you are no longer mentally competent.
Precisely.
Whereas our campaign, and I know Andrew Mitchell would support this, that the person who seeks an assisted death must be mentally competent at the time they are assessed, and after a break, still be mentally competent at the time that they are helped to die. So I don't think it would work through the advanced decision route. I think it does need specific legislation.
I hear what you say, and I learn every day on this programme. No, that's what calm and intelligent debate is about. What do you say to Pickering's charge, though, which is a little more energetic and pointed, that 6 months is the thin end of the wedge? And you just admitted it in part yourself, that you'd like it to be further.
Yeah, I don't...
Would like it to be longer.
No, sure. I don't see it as a thin end of a wedge at all. With any campaign, there are differing views, particularly political campaigns. MyDeath-MyDecision campaigns for a law that will apply to the incurably suffering, like Paul Lamb. You may remember the late Tony Nicholson, who had locked-in syndrome. Yes. He wasn't terminally ill, but he was, by any stretch, incurably suffering. So that's what our campaign's about. Now, if a bill were to pass through Parliament that just had a 6-month time limit, I'd welcome it as an assisted dying law, but it's not a slippery slope. It seems to me a rather puerile metaphor, because we have a stance in our campaign which happens to differ from the others. It's not a slippery slope because we are very clear that we want our campaign to extend to both the terminally ill and the incurably suffering, like Paul Lamb.
Sure.